Real cases before a real judge.
Plaintiff Mario Ribas met the defendant on an online dating site 7 years ago, and they've been friends with benefits ever since. Mario claims the defendant is a hustler who even tried selling him pain pills, and he's suing her today for car rental fees. Defendant Krista Zielinski admits that her relationship with Mario was purely sexual, and the reason they were never monogamous is because Mario is a ladies' man. Krista insists Mario is suing her for more than she owes.
All rise. This court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Greg Mathis presiding. You may now be seated.
Start with you.
Krista and I met about 7 years ago on an online dating site. We chatted for maybe a week or two. We met, and it quickly escalated to a sexual relationship.
Quickly as in when?
That night. Yeah, so very quickly.
How long did you all stay together?
We've been off and on for about 6 or 7 years.
Okay, and you did say that 7 years. Okay, well, wasn't a waste. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, the extent of that was really we were just friends with benefits for about 6 or 7 years. She'd call me or text at 9 or 10 at night. I'd go over, we'd do our thing.
How often?
And then probably about twice, 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, that's a lot of benefit. Go ahead.
I don't think her and I had ever...
deserves a pension with it. If you're gonna get that, you need that benefit too.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
I think at some point throughout the 6 or 7 years, I realized Krista, in a way, was kind of a hustler. She was always trying to sell me things. She was trying to sell me a treadmill. She tried to sell me boots. At one point, she offered me pain pills, asked if I wanted to buy those or if I knew anybody that was interested.
Other than the illegal activity, what was wrong with her being a hustler? That's a good thing.
Hey, we all got to make a buck. I get it. So.
All right, you said with a negative connotation. You should have said, "Okay, got me a good woman here. She knows how to go get it." Yeah, go ahead.
I even bought the boots that she tried to sell me, so it worked out well.
Go ahead. So, were you all having any disputes during the course of the relationship?
No, it was pretty benign.
Good. You want to give me some background?
Yeah, Mario and I. Obviously, we've been friends for quite a while, or known each other for quite a while. We did date briefly.
Quite briefly.
I mean,
non-committed relationship. I got that.
It wasn't a relationship. It was more of a, we'd go on dates.
Right. Why didn't you all form a relationship?
Mario is a ladies' man.
He's a what? Ladies' man?
He's a ladies' man.
Okay, he wasn't ready, and he let you know that in one way or the other, right?
Right.
Good.
Well,
all right.
I mean, we go out to
Decent
dinner.
guy. That's what you do.
We go out to dinner, and he gives the waitress his phone number.
I don't know about that part, being disrespectful.
He's a ladies' man.
She knows that's not
a little
true.
disrespectful if that's
do that.
true. All right. Did you ever want a relationship with him beyond drive-bys? They don't call them booty calls anymore. They call them drive-bys or friends with benefits. It's drive-bys. You make drive-bys every couple of days.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I mean, Mario and I established more of a friendship than anything. I came to know him and who he was and how he moved, and he's a busy guy. He works a lot. He's never home. So there is no potential for a relationship with somebody that you can't have a relationship with.
All right. I got it. And the rental car fees, how does she owe you for that?
On April 28th, she texted and asked if I would help her rent a car. She had cash for the car, but you need a credit card in order to rent a car. I was uncomfortable with that arrangement. I just felt like there's too much liability for a rental car. However, she said in the text message that she was going to pay cash for the car and that nothing would run on my credit card. They just needed it to hold, and that she was going to get insurance on the car so I didn't have to worry about any damages and whatnot. So also the reason...
It was to be in her name?
The car rental was to be in her name, correct. So the reason she needed the car was to go to Denver because her daughter has a seizure disorder and she needed to get alternative medicine. She was going to speak to some doctors in Denver. Because of that, I felt like I could help out, and I felt good about that. And prior to this, I had loaned Krista money on numerous occasions, and she always paid me back. So she had established some credibility. So because of those reasons, I felt comfortable moving forward with this. So at about midnight or 1 in the morning, I picked her up. We drove to the rental car facility in St. Louis. We rented the car in her name using my credit card. we went our separate ways. I felt everything was okay. Fast forward 20 days later, and I got a credit card statement showing that the charge was $2,337.
Let's see it.
Yep.
And when you approached her about it, what did she say?
I sent her a text. I said, Krista, what the hell's going on with this car? And apparently while she was in Denver, I got the story. She had lost the key while she had stopped at a gas station to go to use the restroom. She had to have the car towed 140 miles, pay for the key replacement. When she got back to St. Louis, her car had been impounded, the windshield was damaged, so she had to keep it for an extra 7 days. All this was unbeknownst to me because she didn't feel it necessary to tell me as those particular things were going on. I knew that she was stuck in Denver. However, I did not know that she charged the tow, the key replacement, or the additional rental time on my card, right?
Ma'am, what do you say?
When Mario and I went to rent this car at St. Louis Airport, we purchased the insurance to cover any damages at a zero deductible. Anything that happened to the car is supposed to be a zero deductible. No responsibility.
When you say we, what do you mean by that?
Well, when he and I went to pick up the rental car at the St. Louis Airport.
You say we purchased insurance.
I say we because he and I were both there. I opted to take the zero deductible insurance.
Because all he was doing is putting up the credit card.
Right, so that if anything happened,
okay, so there's never any we. There's no we in this. That's my point I'm making.
Yes, so I took the zero deductible insurance to cover everyone. In case anything did happen, he wasn't charged for it.
Coming up on Judge Mathis.
He was the executive director over the Cabrini Greens project at one point.
Okay, let's
Long
see.
time ago.
That's some good times. They were there during those years.
JJ.
JJ and then what is the family? Come on now. The Evans family. Yeah, from good times. They were there those years.
And still to come.
That was all out of my hands, and I filed
So you dump
reports.
it in his hands?
No.
And yes, what you did. It's on his credit card. So you have dumped it on him.
I don't feel like I've dumped it on him.
Where did it go? Where did it go? How often?
And then probably about twice, 2-3 times a week.
Yeah, that's a lot of benefit.
I don't think her and I had ever...
Deserves a pension with it if you're going to get
Plaintiff Mario Ribas says he and the defendant were friends with benefits, and the defendant claims the reason they were never in a committed relationship is because Mario's a ladies' man.
And so what happened?
So Denver's a 12-hour trip from St. Louis to Colorado. 10 hours in, I stop at the gas station to fill up, and the car key got stolen at that gas station. The gas station attendants and myself, we looked for the key for 6 hours, literally, and we couldn't find it. I requested the videotapes from the gas station, which they would not give me. So I had to stay at the hotel across from the gas station for 3 days because I was stranded. When I filed the roadside service report, they would not bring me a key because of the distance between the nearest location and where I was. I gave alternatives, told them that I would have someone in Denver that, to bring me a key so that they didn't have to, or I would come get a key and come back to the car. Anything to avoid this tow, because they are telling me that there's zero deductible insurance that sounds so good when you rent a car, does not cover towing, which they did not tell me when I picked the car up. So now the only option after the third day was to get the car towed. When I got to Denver, I accomplished what I needed to accomplish for my daughter and got back to St. Louis. In this time, I feel like I am responsible for the time that I've already paid him for, obviously cash, but also the extra 7 days that I kept the car after I returned to St. Louis because my vehicle was immobile. So yes, I do feel like I'm responsible for the extra 7 days at $49 per day, which is what I have.
So after that, how much would be owed?
$343. I believe they are responsible for the tow, for the $60 in late fees that they charge for them not bringing me a key or, getting the car on time back to them. That was all out of my hands, and I filed
So you dump it in
reports.
his hands?
No.
And that's what you did. It's on his credit card.
I understand.
And if it isn't paid, then his credit is ruined. So you have dumped it on him.
I have not.
Pardon?
I don't feel like I've dumped it on him.
Where did it go? Where did it go? Where did that $2,000 debt go?
Well, it definitely went on his credit card.
Yeah, that's dumping
true.
it on
yes.
him. That's dumping it on him.
But I also
you're confused, ma'am. It's just like someone co-signs for another person with their car. They're not the principal user. They're just co-signing. When they violate or breach that contract with the finance company goes after the primary user. And unfortunately, if that primary user doesn't want to pay, it's dumped on the person who co-signed. And that's what we have here. The transaction was between you and the rental car company. That's why I had to keep correcting you, because you started out trying to ease a little liability over there to him, talking about we. Wasn't no we, you. So you entered into the contract. All he did was guarantee the contract, and the thanks he got from you was to run it up $2,300 and tell him to go talk with the rental car company. Well, he's gonna get his money, $2,337 from you, and then you go talk to the rental car company. Have a good day. Judgment for the plaintiff.
I believe that Mario and I can remain cordial friends. We just need to work out the little details of the situation.
I agree. I've always respected Krista in different ways, and I know she's a single mom, and she really cares about her daughter. I don't think this is going to really put a dent in our relationship moving forward.
Plaintiff Elizabeth Branson says the defendant was married to her husband's brother, who went from having a promising career to a full-blown heroin addict. Elizabeth is suing because she claims the defendant stole money that was intended for her son. Defendant Dorothy Branson says Elizabeth is a great person, but she believes Elizabeth was a drug addict just like her husband. Dorothy feels the money Elizabeth is suing for belongs to her, and therefore she refuses to pay her.
Ma'am, you're suing your sister-in-law for $900 for stealing your money?
Yes, sir.
Start with you.
This is my sister-in-law. She was married to my husband's brother, who's now deceased. He was previously married to someone else, and he had a promising career. Somewhere along the line, he was the executive director over the Cabrini Greens project at one point, and he was doing phenomenally. He was driving a fancy car, living in a big home. What years? This was back in about 1972, 73, something like that.
Okay, let's see.
Long time ago.
That's what's the family? On Good Times, they were there during those years. JJ and then what is the family? Come on now. The Evans family, yeah, from Good Times. They were there those years. And the place did look nice. You had that one guy, the superintendent.
Yeah,
He did a pretty good job. All right, so we credit it all to your brother-in-law. God bless.
Coming up next on Judge Mathis.
What part of New Jersey are you from?
I live in Montclair.
Isn't that near Newark?
It is.
Well, quit signifying about Chicago. Newark ain't that safe
I'm from
either.
Chicago. Wait. I'm from Chicago myself.
Signifying.
I grew up on the west side. They called my nickname West Side Mickey.
There you go. Now we're talking. West Side Mickey.
And later.
It was times where I had to pull her back in the car. She'd stop at a red light, get out, turn the music up, get to dancing in traffic, pull her back in.
I don't even know how to dance.
You don't know how to dance.
No.
She said she doesn't know how to dance. When you get high, you might.
Yeah,
I don't pop no people.
Happy holidays from your friends.
Do you have a pending lawsuit that you want Judge Mathis to decide? If so, call 1-888-VERDICT or visit us online at www.judgemathisTV.com.
Ma'am, you're suing your sister-in-law for $900 for stealing your money?
Yes, sir.
Start with you.
This is my sister-in-law. She was married to my husband's brother, who's now deceased.
Plaintiff Elizabeth Branson is suing her sister-in-law because she claims she stole $1,900 that was intended for Elizabeth's son.
Go ahead.
At some point, he became addicted to heroin. And his first wife divorced him.
What years did he become addicted to heroin, you think?
Well, I live in Jersey, and he lived in Chicago. So we came back to visit him, and he was acting weird. And we found out he was addicted to heroin. So this was right after he started the Cabrini Greens.
Yeah. Okay.
As a matter of fact, he confided that's where someone had introduced him to it. So his first wife divorced him, and then I came back later, and then he had married Dorothy. We don't have a really close relationship because of the distance. One of the things that my brother-in-law, he always was trying to pulling scams and doing things because he didn't really want to work. Something happened in Chicago so bad that they had to leave Chicago, and he changed his name.
All right, what part of New Jersey you from?
I live in Montclair.
Isn't that near Newark?
It is.
Well, quit signifying about Chicago. Newark ain't that safe
I'm from
either.
Chicago. Wait. I'm from Chicago myself.
Signifying.
I grew up on the west side. They called my nickname West Side Mickey.
There you go. Now we're talking. West Side Mickey.
West Side Mickey. I went to Mighty Marshall.
There you go. All right.
That's how I got to New Jersey with my husband. But
all right.
Yeah, but that's basically.
Okay. What type of lady has she been, or when you would encounter her, would you all get along and everything was fine?
We got along.
Okay.
We're not tight, but we got along.
No troubles up until this?
No troubles up until this.
Let me hear from you.
Yes, Liz is a great mother. She's a great sister-in-law.
Good.
I love her like a sister-in-law should, even though, like she said, we're not close because of the distance.
You don't want to give me any background other than she's a good sister-in-law and a good mother? That's good enough.
Like Liz, she has a background too. Everybody has a background.
She does, you say?
Yes, she does. Mm-hmm. And I believe that she was addicted, just like my husband.
West Side Mickey.
So, between that time, we went to stay with them for a little bit, and I don't know, I guess they would go off and come back, suspicious acting.
What years were these? 70s?
I can't
Early
believe
70s?
It's been so long. It's been so long.
You know I've been getting high. Your memory gone.
No, sir. I don't do drugs.
Just messing with you.
That's all right. Anyway.
But if it was the 70s, unfortunately, it was an epidemic then in the urban areas. Not so much in the suburbs where it is now, but there was an epidemic in the urban areas. They're bringing over the Vietnam soldiers who were mostly impoverished guys on the front lines where you can get the poppy plant, and they took them for the pain. And so they got addicted to heroin there. Then when they got home, they didn't have job opportunity and other things that veterans should have, like we see today. So sure enough, they were vulnerable to the drugs and the heroin. And an epidemic occurred in the urban areas because that's primarily where they were shipping it, because that's primarily where the most vulnerable people were. Then today, lo and behold, guess where 80% of your heroin comes from? Afghanistan, where the war is. I'll leave it alone. And the president, or the former president, Karzai, his brother was known in the CIA states and believes as the biggest heroin dealer in Afghanistan. So just wanted to make that commentary. Perhaps if she and the others in the 70s that you might know of that were hooked on heroin, it's a large part because it was flooded. In New York, you'd see hundreds of people lined around one building waiting to cop some heroin. You'd see hundreds of them, and the police would just drive on by, keep driving. Ma'am, what's the money about?
I transfer money all the time in my son's account. I do it online. And she has the same last name as my son. So I was transferring $950 to my son on my phone. And normally when you send it, my son receives a text. He knew I was sending it. You receive a text that says, Elizabeth Branson put $950 in your account. So I sent the money. He said he didn't get it. And I know he needed it that night, and so it was under the name Branson. I said, I'm gonna send it to you again, because I know you need it. So I sent another $950. He says, Mom, I still didn't get the money. So then I go and get on the computer. And I look at the computer, and I have Branson, and I have son. So that's when I realized that I didn't know. I thought the Branson was my son's old account. Mm-hmm. So that was Friday. So Friday, I'm on the phone with the bank, and they said, well, we can't tell you anything about it. We have to investigate. So Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Wednesday, I walked to the bank and they told me, well, the money is in an active account. And I said, well, my son's account is closed. He said, nope, it belongs to Dorothy Branson. I said, oh, that's my sister-in-law. I'll just call her and she'll just transfer the money back. Because I'm looking for my $1,900 over the whole weekend. And so I called her, I texted her, I called her and texted her, and I never heard anything from her. Okay. Finally, she responded and said, oh, I'm busy. I was busy. I wasn't trying to not respond to you. She said, I don't think she said I got the money, but I asked her, when am I going to get my money back? And she said she had spent most of it. She had put some in her escrow account and that she had some left. I said, well, what do you have left? And when am I going to get, when am I going to get it? And she said, well, she thought my husband had put the money in her account. My husband does not have her banking information. As I said, it says.
But she had given you 100 back? Is that why?
She gave me 1,000 back.
Okay.
Yeah.
In a moment, the judge's ruling. And later on Judge Mathis.
I mean, if somebody comes in and starts destroying and shooting at you such and such, they say, because you was with my woman. They say something. You say, well, why are you shooting at me, Doyle? Say, because you stole my lunch. A little overreaction. Follow me on.
Wednesday, I walked to the bank and they told me, well, the money is in an active account. And I said, well, my son's account is closed. He said, nope, it belongs to Dorothy Branson. I said, oh, that's my sister-in-law. I'll just call her and she'll just transfer the money back.
Plaintiff Elizabeth Branson is suing her sister-in-law because she claims she stole $1,900 that was intended for Elizabeth's son.
Ma'am? Yes, she did that.
So haven't you paid her beyond the 1,000?
Why?
Yes, ma'am.
Because I'm a good person.
Pardon me?
It took her 5 days to respond to me and say, hey, I've been looking for this money. Mm-hmm. I did this in good faith to send her $1,000 back. I actually told her that I don't have, she wanted the whole $900 back. I didn't have that.
So you think it was yours?
Yes, technically it was mine. She put it in my account.
Where are you getting that from? That technical law?
She put it in my account.
Is that technical law?
I don't know.
I'm telling you, it's not. Okay. All right, that's her money. She sent to you mistakenly. You acknowledged it. You paid her some back. And so therefore, you owe her the rest because you knew it was a mistake after it happened. Even had you not known, all she had to do is prove it. Because if you get some money and you talk to the person and they haven't sent it, another person says, I sent it to you mistakenly, you know it's not your money. You weren't entitled to it. It wasn't a gift. It was a mistake. It's like when you find money, folks need to know if someone finds some money in here, they have an obligation to say, anybody lose some money. You find jewelry somewhere, you have an obligation. Anybody lose it. Some judges suggest and believe that you should take it to the police station. Or if there's a lost and found in the building, you have to take it there. You can't just put it in your pocket and keep going. Somebody lost this and it's mine now. Nope. Judgment for the plaintiff. Have a good day.
Thank you.
Plaintiff Shaquana Martin has been best friends with the defendant for 8 years, but he is full of drama. Shaquana claims one of the defendant's crazy girlfriends got mad at him, and she took Shaquana's orange juice and started throwing it around the house. Shaquana is suing her former friend for the cost of a flat iron. Defendant Jakari Eskridge says Shaquana is a good person, but she's also a pill popper. Jakari insists he did not damage Shaquana's flat iron, and therefore he refuses to pay.
Start with you.
Well, I've been knowing Jakari for 8 years. That's my best friend. But he's just too much drama. We always get into it over the littlest things.
Like what?
It could be like, I have a big pet peeve with people touching my things. It could be little stuff like food I like to eat. And
yeah, I think everybody have a problem with folks touching their food.
Or stuff like orange juice, for instance.
Drinking it all? Everybody have a problem with you drinking all their orange juice.
Let me tell you the story. He like crazy girls. So he invited a crazy... He like crazy girls. And he invited the girl over to the house to spend the night or whatever. And he paid for her ride to get there, but I guess he didn't get her no ride back. And she came in the house, she went in the refrigerator, she got my orange juice and get to throwing it around his house because he ain't want to get her no dollar to get in the...
Nah.
He didn't want to get her no dollar to get in the Uber. He already gave her $9, but he didn't want to get her the extra $1. So she went in his refrigerator and got to throwing the orange juice all around the house. And he called me up that morning.
That was the only crazy one he's had?
I ain't meet no other ones. That's the only one I met. But I know he go after crazy
You and
girls.
his friendship been fine other than that?
Pretty
Other
much.
than those little instances of drama. Sir, you want to give me some background?
I've been knowing Shaquana Martin for 8 years, like she said. What she's saying is not true. It's actually the complete opposite. She crazy. Just all flat off, pill popping out. She pop pill, A to Z.
Stop
no matter what it is.
Stop laughing.
She a good person.
How often you see her?
About 3 times out the week, I said.
Does she pop pills then?
When we go out, yeah.
He never saw me popping up.
Quiet.
We go out, yes.
You seen her?
Yes.
Okay.
Why did you laugh?
And what did you do when you see her popping pills 3 times a week?
I try to get her to stop, you know, but she grown. It was times where I had to pull her back in the car. She'd stop at a red light, get out, turn the music up, get to dancing in traffic, pull her back in.
I don't even know how to dance.
You don't know how to dance.
No.
She said she doesn't know how to dance. When you get high, you might.
I don't pop no pills.
That's true. It's true. The beats come out of her when she get high.
Stay tuned. The case continues after this.
What did he say happened?
Yo, flat ass fell, but I never heard that.
He didn't say how?
No. He just plain they fell.
How do you think they fell?
I think he dropped them.
You think he was using them?
I don't know where he
And
was.
they fell out of his hand?
I ain't got no help.
Maybe I guess that's why he lost all your hair. You didn't know how to use them properly.
One judge laying down the law
Why are you so violent? Are you violent often?
and getting the job done. The one and only
There you go.
Judge Mathis. When you have a cold,
If you're in Chicago and would like to attend a taping of the Judge Mathis Show, call us at 1-866-3-MATHIS. Defendant Jakari Eskridge was best friends with the plaintiff for 8 years, but he claims she's a pill popper.
Tell me what you're suing him about, this flat iron.
My flat irons, well, like in August, I want to say like the 10th or the 11th, I don't remember what exact day. I was spending the night at Jakari's house. I was up in his bathroom doing my hair. And he rushed me out the washroom. He's like, get out, get out. I gotta hurry up, get in, I gotta go. So I get out the washroom, left the flat irons plugged up and whatever. One done doing
hair all on my sink.
one done doing my hair.
That cheap hair.
You lying.
Go ahead.
One done doing my hair. So I let him get in and whatever. So he ended up washing up. He come out. Now I'm getting to the point where he dressed. He leave the house. Now I go back in the bedroom. I didn't notice my flat irons broke. When I pick them up to get ready to use them, I get to screaming because I see them dangling and whatever. So I call him. He's like, oh, you ain't hear me when I said your flat irons fell? I say, never heard you say that and whatever. So I get the cursing him out instantly like, you got to pay for these. I ain't paying for and whatever.
What did he say happened?
Oh, your flat irons fell, but I never heard that.
He didn't say how?
No. He just plain they fell.
How do you think they fell?
I think he dropped them.
You think he was using them?
I don't know where he
And
was.
they fell out of his hand?
I ain't got no help.
Maybe I guess that's why he lost all your hair. You didn't know how to use them properly. Next time, learn how to use them before you put it in your hair. That way you don't have to wear it so low. It'd have still been long if you'd have known how to use it.
No, I ain't that. I don't need no.
Yeah, I know you didn't use them, sir. So you have to come with some theory of how he was negligent, because it's your burden to prove he was negligent in the handling of your items that you brought to his house. You were taking up this man's bathroom at his house. Then you bring your flat iron. The man has to get dressed and go to work or wherever. And you leave your property in another person's room at another person's house, and then something happens to it. You can't even speculate on what happened.
Well, like
if he was a woman, perhaps, and you said she was curling her hair, that might be a reasonable theory. But you can't even come up with how it may have happened.
He just told me they fell. I don't know how they happened. They
okay, well then you haven't proven your case. I'm sorry. You have to prove that he caused it in some way, and you haven't done that. Your claim is dismissed. Have a good day.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Well, I mean, he's still my my friend at the end of the day. I just want him to pay for my flat irons.
Still my friend. I don't believe they was $500. But, you know.
You could definitely call them all. Because 3 years ago, I paid $500.
Did you pay for them, though? Klepto.
Well, somebody bought them for me.
Klepto, did you pay for them?
Somebody bought them for me, but they were still $500.
Who bought them for you?
It don't even matter.
Nobody. I still love you, though.
Whatever.
Plaintiff Charles Lease Jr. says the defendant is his son, and he divorced the defendant's mother when he was a baby. Charles claims now the defendant hates him and his mother, so much so that he went to his mother's house and trashed her belongings. Charles is suing his son for a bail bond and a loan for gas. Defendant Charles Lease says he was primarily raised by his mother and grandmother because the plaintiff was a drunk who cheated on his mother. Charles claims the plaintiff wasn't even in his life until he was 17 or 18. And the bail was the first time he ever helped him out. And now he's suing him for it.
Start with you.
Well, him and his mother, we divorced early on when he was still a baby. So we probably didn't bring him up the way he was supposed to be brought up. I was always working. She was always working. We tried the best we could, but we just grew apart. And he starts hating us. I mean, he hates us for everything.
Why?
I don't know, he blames her for more than he blames me. Like this past Christmas, he went to his mother's house and trashed everything. His own presents, all her presents.
Why?
He went on a rampage and broke the door. I don't know, he hates her. He hates me.
He's never said why. When he's doing all this, does he say it's because?
It's because probably we didn't.
And no, probably. Have you all ever said, son, why are you doing this? And he says, because you're such and such to me. You ever heard anything like that?
Yeah, no, it's okay.
I'm asking you. Have you ever heard anything like that? Like a reason?
Oh, yes, I tried to reason with him all the time. Comedy.
No, sir. Has he ever given you a reason for his hate? Has he ever stated it? If somebody comes in and starts destroying and shooting at you such and such, they say, because you was with my woman. They say something. You say, well, why are you shooting at me, Doyle? You say, because you stole my lunch. So that's a little overreaction. Yeah. So what, sir?
He does all these things because he hates his mother, and he hates me.
You hate your mother?
No, I do not. I don't
Why are
hate
you
my
going
father
for
either.
tearing up stuff?
I didn't do that. I don't know what he's talking about. I have no idea what he's talking about.
More of Judge Mathis in a moment.
What broke the camel's back was he came home drunk one night and was throwing me up in the air and almost dropped me. And he left and she changed the locks and got a divorce.
But I was very careful with it. I mean, I just threw him up. Hey, playful.
Defendant Charles Lease is being sued by his father, who claims Charles hates his mother so much that he recently trashed her home.
You give me some background on your relationship with your parents.
Okay. I was raised primarily by my mother and grandmother. My parents got divorced when I was 1 year old. She said he was cheating and getting drunk every night, laying in bed in his underwear. He didn't have a job. And what broke the camel's back was he came home drunk one night and was throwing me up in the air and almost dropped me. And he left and she changed the locks and got a divorce.
But I was very careful with him. I mean, I just threw him up. Hey, playful.
He was never in my life until I was about 17 or 18. My mom said he'd never paid child support. One time he got really, really drunk and I got some piercings and I came home and he called me a He told me only women do that. And, constantly my whole life, he's just telling me, I'll never be a man because I never joined the Marine Corps like him.
Did you ever say that?
No. I was in the Marine Corps. You know,
Why didn't you tell him that?
I asked him if he would join. I asked him if he.
And when he said no, you said he'd never be a man?
No, I didn't say that.
I believe he did. Go ahead.
Yeah. He has 7. I believe he's on his 7th or 8th wife now, so he's a difficult person to get along with.
You've had 7 or 8 wives?
5.
Go ahead.
There was an incident when one of our dogs peed outside, and his wife at the time brought it in and told me it was a yellow snow cone.
What did he do?
I know. He didn't do anything to interrupt it. I don't remember how he reacted, but she was laughing at me, and she called me a dumb. And I mean, I was little. I was on my weekend visits. I was only like 4 or 5 years old.
Are you aware of this?
Nope, it never happened. Never
Has he told you this before?
No, not that way.
How did he tell you?
He just said, when I was little, you made me pick up something.
All right. Anything else you want to tell me about why you feel so much anger towards your dad?
I don't really hold on to anger because I don't think it's a good thing to hold on to.
Okay.
But I just, you know, it's like the first thing my dad ever did for me, and he's suing me for it, you know? That's how I feel.
Do you understand why he's feeling this way or not? You don't appear to understand, sir. You don't appear to understand.
Well, he's living with me now. I don't charge him rent.
Okay. How long has he been there?
Going on a year.
How's that going?
It's going pretty well.
Okay, good. And does he give you free rent? He allows you to stay there rent-free?
Well, he says it's rent-free, but I give him money every month. He has like this long list from when,
he has what?
He has like this long list from like when I was born, from like every single penny I owe him, and all the money I give him goes towards that. I'm serious. He has.
Is that true or not?
He has a school.
You don't have a list of things he owes you for.
His girlfriend before last, I paid to repair her car.
No, he says going back to his childhood days. Do you have a list of things you've spent?
No, not his childhood.
Somebody's making up some big lies.
More when we return.
One judge laying down the law.
Why are you so violent? Are you violent often?
And getting the job done. The one and only.
There you go.
Judge Mathis.
You think you need a paternity test? Call 1-888-VERDICT or visit us online at www.judgemathistv.com. Defendant Charles Lease is being sued by his father, who claims Charles hates his mother so much that he recently trashed her home.
Sir, why are you suing him for the bail and gas?
Okay. He was arrested coming back from Colorado by weed because it's legal out there.
Mm-hmm.
He got stopped in Kansas by the sheriff department. He smelled marijuana. He was with a girlfriend, and he was speeding. That's why they stopped him. He had probable cause when he smelled it, and then he locked him up. And then he's calling me up, you know, and telling him what happened. And I said, well, you know, I don't have the money. You know, I'm trying. I don't know what. You know, actually, it was.
You didn't know what to tell him, sir.
Yeah, 25.
I said, no, you hate me, remember? You're calling me, you hate me. Go ahead.
But I put up the bond money or bail money for
how much?
$2,500.
All right, and what is the other money?
That's
gas for what?
For gas going down to get him out of jail, bringing him home.
When did he say he would repay you?
And yes, he tries, but he never
When
does.
did he say, when you got the money, did he say, I'll pay you by the end of the year, I'll pay you back as best I can? What did he say?
He never said. He said he said he didn't know it to me. He's saying
he never told you he'd pay you?
No.
Your Honor, I didn't say anything about it.
Sir, did you agree to pay him or not?
No, I did not.
So you can't just unilaterally say I have an agreement that you owe me. As a father-son, he could assume that this was a gift. And by your own admission, you never discussed whether it was a loan, and he never agreed to repay you. Like he says, hey, you're my dad, you ain't been around, so at least you can do is get me out of jail. What happened? What was the case?
I was being stupid, and I went to Colorado and I obtained marijuana, and I tried to come back home with it.
And what type of sentence did you get?
It was pretty harsh. Well, I mean, it wasn't harsh and, you know.
Leave that weed alone, man. You can't even talk. But you smoke too much weed, sir.
Actually,
you smoke too much. I can tell.
I have a medical marijuana card, Your Honor.
I know, and you might be overusing it. I'm just saying, sir, you're having a hard time explaining and answering the questions
I'm just nervous. I've never...
Okay, all right, you're nervous, but you know how much time you got or a sentence.
Well, yeah, they gave me a fine. And that was, it started out was they told me I had 23 grams of marijuana. They took that paper away from me while I was in jail. They gave me another paper that said in excess of 25 grams of marijuana, felony. The first one said misdemeanor, the second said felony. And I mean, it was horrible. They didn't give me food, or water, or my medicine for 4.5 days.
And 25 grams, it's like that much weed?
Yeah, it's nothing. It's like 25 grams.
That much, though?
It's a little more than that.
The average, I'd say about the average joint would be 1 gram. I have severe back and neck injuries.
Right. And when you told the judge that, what did they say?
Oh, they didn't care. It's Kansas. Kansas isn't Colorado.
All right. Sir, he never agreed to pay you.
He agreed to pay me.
I asked you that and you told me he didn't. Your claim is dismissed. Have a good day.
All I'm trying to do is get $2,300 for gas to get him out of jail and his bond. That's all I'm asking you for. He owes me a lot more than that, but that's all I was asking for.
He said so many lies today, I don't even know what to say. I can't even look at him right now. I can't believe all the lies he said in court today.